Welcome everyone to the CCL Halftime Show. I'm Kyle Fergusson, and today I'm joined by Wildheart Zergling. Thank you for joining me, Zergling.
Glad to be here. How's it going, Kyle?
Going good. Been fun watching you all season. Been enjoying all the various ins and outs that have been going on, but you I'm excited to talk to because you completely changed roles since the previous season, correct?
Yeah, I used to be an offlaner and now I'm a flex range player.
So this was a return to form for you? Because I remember from our previous interview that in the HGC days, you were pretty heavy in like the carry department.
Yeah, actually. So before I qualified through the open division as an offlaner, I was trying out for different teams as flex carry. Mostly the flex role because I played a lot of the flex heroes and I enjoyed those like TOV, Zarya, Medivh, Hanzo, Li Ming, stuff like that weren't actually like auto attackers. So that was originally my role for a while. I had a lot of really good opportunities through HGC teams. Some things didn't work out, some things happened, yada yada yada. And then I came to open and everyone wants to play damage and there was a lack of offlaners and I saw my spot and I was like, I can fill that spot and I think I could do it pretty good too. So that's what I decided to do. And then I did that for a while. And after you play a role for so long, you just kind of want to take a break from it. And that's kind of what I did. I felt like I wanted to go back to my roots. I enjoyed the game a lot more. I was less frustrated. And so I decided to be like, hey, I'll play, but I only want to play flex. And here I am.
That's fair. And that freshening up has certainly been interesting and exciting to see. So last season, you were playing Divas, Urels, Dahakas, Blazes, and Hoggers. And now you're a Junkrat main? Where would you put the main title for us?
That's difficult actually. I don't like to have like a true main because I think every hero works in different situations. I would say I probably have the most fun on Hanzo, Junkrat, Medivh, Li Ming, around those heroes. But obviously different heroes work in different situations depending on our team comp and what our team wants to do. And I'm always like, hey, Propius looking pretty good right now. Let's go to some Pro, but maybe we'll do some Imperious. Maybe we'll do some Urel, some Murky. There's a lot of different things that I want to do. But I would probably have to say I definitely lean towards more of the characters that have some sort of playmaking potential. Cause that's kind of the player I am. I'm always looking for opportunities.
Spoken like a true flex. Well done. So, all right. So this kind of leads me to my next bit because previously in the season 2, you all had Justin kind of working the draft and all that, and the team has gone through a pretty big restructure. Then you still got yourself, Weary Day, Mason Blaze. What is the overall team structure like, and who kind of has what job right now?
I kind of assumed a lot of the responsibilities because as before in HGC when I was doing my open, I was the primary shot caller, drafter, rotations, etc., teaching people. So I've kind of assumed the role of I have to do draft. I have to teach people kind of the gaps because we had Slug go to offlane, teach them some of the offlane information, teaching my team how to play certain maps efficiently, what you should be looking for. So I'm kind of like the drafting coach macro person is what I would say. I try not to do too much because sometimes, as some people have seen, I sometimes die randomly early in the game and I'm trying to shot call stuff and I'm like unfocused and I'm like, man, I messed up. I got to play more safe. And that's something that comes with experience because when you do it from the offlane, you're really tanky. It's really hard for you to die. But when you play like Junkrat or Hanzo, one bad position and you're looking off the map, 3 people come out of bush, you're just dead. So that's kind of where I'm at. I got Weary Day as my secondary shot caller. He does help with draft. Tremor has done a really good job stepping up. He was a very quiet person when I first met him, but he's really kind of opened up. He's like calling initiations, what he wants to look for, things he wants to do. So he's really growing out of his shell. Mason's very quiet, and then Slug is starting to grow as an offlaner. So that's kind of our dynamic as a team so far.
That's great. I didn't really think about the psychological impact of shot calling on such a squishy character like Falstad. The screen in the video game goes, oh, you're out. And it's probably very easy to be like, well, I'll just sit here until, I get to play the video game again. But as shot caller, you'd have to keep going.
Yeah. So even if I die in a fight, I can't be like, oh, crap. I can't be mad. I can't do anything. I have to continue calling things and saying what to do or what we should be looking for. And sometimes I die, it happens, and I just move on and I go on to the next play. And I don't really let them bother me too much. when I die, unless I die excessively, and the times I die excessively is usually a product of something else happening. But that's very, very rare for me. So I just try to keep trucking, because as soon as I shut down or I start to falter and shot calling, my whole entire team suffers, and that's something we don't want to see.
So you mentioned earlier that you have all these beautiful things you want to play, like your Lost Vikings and Murky, but you're also the drafter. So you're stopping yourself from doing these things then?
Yes, I am. My team likes to win. It's something that is I struggle with talking to them about. Obviously, we want to have as much fun as possible. We like to play some of those heroes. Sometimes those heroes are limited to scrims. Could be to try different things. But a lot of times, I'm trying to fill those gaps and being a more experienced player on my team. Because realistically, I'm the only quote unquote ex HGC or ex pro or whatever you want to call it from a few years ago. And a lot of that knowledge is being transferred through me, and the rest of my team were amateur players, didn't even play competitively at the time, or weren't involved in heroes at a high level. And I don't have that knowledge from other players, like other teams. For example, 30K has some good players on there that have a HC experience, and they can all kind of talk. But I have to kind of be that mediator and kind of pick up the slack of what I have to do for the team. And I realize that, so I can't play as much fun heroes as I would like to.
Okay, so you have to be the rock, and maybe
pretty much
the rock in the room shouldn't necessarily be Murky, Lost Vikings.
No, unfortunately, no.
Okay, all right, I get you. So you said you were also shot caller for it then?
Yep.
How do you shot call on Mephisto? That seems really busy. How do you manage all that at once, and also managing other heroes?
Well, I can't micromanage. Obviously, there's a certain point where it's like it's too much. I don't want my team to be autopilot, so they have to think for themselves. But I'm constantly saying we need to be, as soon as I'm very analytical driven based on my career, profession, whatever. And one thing happens, I have the next 5 steps already set up, and it's like, hey, we cleared mid. 30 seconds, top wave's done. I need this bush vision. I need this look in this. I need this information, and I need these things. And that's what I kind of direct to my team. I'm like, hey, Tremor, look for something. This is our opportunity. Hey, they should be here. They may not be here, but if they are here, prepare for that. If they're not, take this. So it's kind of like going down like a chart. It's like, A, can I do A? No, I can't do A. Let's do B. Can I do B? No, let's do C. And that's kind of what it is with shot calling. And it's kind of figuring out the best possibility based on the situation. And sometimes, I don't always get it right. And that's part of growing as a player, getting used to experience.
Definitely. Early on in the season, you were playing some Zebo. Are those days over?
No.
No? Okay.
No. There's no hero hidden in the shelf that's like hung up. It's like, no, I don't want to play him anymore. No, I love playing Zebo. Zebo's great. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play the Storm series, and a lot of our series have not been as long as I wanted them to be. So we have a lot less games. I think we have only like 14, 15 games played, and other teams have like 22 to 25 played. So there's a lot less games and a lot less data that we have on us. So those heroes that we want to play, we don't maybe, all right, go play your Junkrat, no Zebo this time, kind of thing. So sometimes we just have to pick what we want or things that we need.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about sort of the impact of your 3 O's as well as the Storm game that had happened there. So I guess
we've had relatively quick series.
So we're looking at data too much at home. We need to just trust the Zergling drafts and see what you can cook up then.
That's kind of the plan.
I like it.
Putting in the work and trying to see if we can see the fruition of the work and getting better as the season goes on.
I like it. Well, last week y'all fought Diamond Hands, and there was the Johanna business. What was that like on the receiving end of such a curveball?
The first game, I didn't quite understand what they're going for, but after the first game, I kind of digested what they were doing, and then I was able to make a pivot on how to deal with that. And I have a pretty good ideas on how to deal with that now after the first game. The first game, props to them. They have a cool draft. It worked well. They earned that. They had a good draft. I think after that, we started realizing the value of it and how to beat it, and we just kind of let it through. We kind of knew what we were playing against. Unfortunately, Alterac was a win for us. Unfortunately, we died too fast on the bottom boss. it was very coin flippy. I really wish we would have won that game. And then we ended up winning the third game. And then obviously the fourth game, it didn't work out for us. That would have been 2-2 and then going on to the fifth game. That's the way I kind of envisioned that series. But I think Johanna, the first game, made a huge impact. But after that, she seemed pretty okay. But I did notice on some other series, like Oxygen, they ran it. So Johanna off lane, top damage, and did a lot of work. So I think it really depends on the comp. And then once people figure out how to beat it and how to play with it or play against it, I think we'll see kind of where she fits in the meta.
That's a great way to think about it, too, because that Alterac was a 30-minute match that did come down to a massive final boss battle there. And so in third game, Towers of Doom, you played Medivh. Was that the solution in your head? Like, 'cause from above, the casual eye was like, this is going really well. What changed? How did one pick kind of change that dynamic?
Johanna needs to hit their heroes to I guess is my little secret, right, for everyone at home, kind of with Johanna. So if you see this weekend, there's counters for it. Johanna at 20 needs CDR, right? So that's why she's so broken. She has healing, she's unstoppable, and she gets really quick CDR. Well, if you put those heroes in a stasis like a ley line, she doesn't get the CDR. She's in the sky, not getting any CDR. So every time Johanna would come in, we would just ley line, falling down, disengage, re-engage, and wouldn't have falling. So then you have a Johanna who she does decent damage, but she no longer has her falling sword. And that's kind of her whole kit as a hero and as identity. So once we realized that, either she was there and we would ley line to bait out the falling, or we would just ley line and kill him before Johanna would get there, and we would track Johanna on the map.
Oh, that's so the healing aspect of the bolts gives, because it's more controllable, gives more cooldown reduction. So by removing the ally, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
that's
so yeah,
awesome.
After we realized that the first game, that was my go-to solution, is this is going to beat this, and that's what we decided to pick. We should have picked it the fourth game. Unfortunately, I kind of caved into a different draft, and I should have just stuck with the Medivh on BOE. It would have worked a lot better.
Still puzzle solve for the future. Then you mentioned Oxygen Esports, which you're about to battle here. Any thoughts going into them?
Well, if they're listening to this, they know what we're going to do, right?
True.
So, going into Oxygen, I think it'll be a good series. Like I said, we're still a team. Like, we had a really quick series both ways, and I really hope that we have a great series from our team, a great showing. We have all five back. We have Tremor back. Tremor's done with his final exam. You know, he's done with the school for the semester, so he's going to be back on our tank, and I'm really excited for us to kind of finish the season strong going into the playoffs. And I think we have a really good shot. So I'm really excited to play. And I always love playing Heroes of Storm, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, everyone stay tuned. That match is coming up next here. Any shout outs you'd like to do it here at the end?
Yeah, I'd love to shout out my org, Wildheart. Always great to work with them, play with them. Shout out to Jazzy, our manager, who does a great job setting up scrims. Shout out to Schulte for doing some of our video editing. Shout out to my team for growing over the season and playing with them. I always love playing with them. I like to shout out to also my girlfriend for supporting me and everything that I do, and she loves watching the games. And I also like to give a shout out for HeroesHearth and also you, Kyle. None of this would be possible without you guys' support and the time you guys put in, and I always really appreciate it, and I love watching Heroes of Storm.
Well said. And everyone else who loves watching Heroes of the Storm, stay tuned.